At 33,000 feet, the air is too thin to breathe, and cold enough to kill in minutes. Then suddenly, an explosion tears a passenger plane apart. A young flight attendant is thrown into the sky. No parachute. No control. Nothing but open air. She falls for nearly 3 minutes, from the height of Mount Everest. And somehow, she survives. January 26, 1972. A commercial flight is crossing Europe. Routine. Calm. Nothing unusual. Passengers sit quietly. Crew move through the aisle. Among them is a 22-year-old flight attendant named Vesna Vulović. Young. Inexperienced. This is one of her first flights. She has no idea, she's about to become part of aviation history. High above the ground, without warning, a bomb detonates inside the aircraft. The explosion rips through the fuselage. Metal tears apart. The cabin breaks open. In seconds, the aircraft disintegrates in mid-air. Passengers, seats, debris, are thrown into the sky. At that altitude, there is no time to react. No time to understand. Just chaos, and then the fall. Most people would lose consciousness instantly. The cold. The thin air. The shock. All hitting at once. But something unusual happens. The flight attendant is not thrown free. Instead, she becomes trapped inside a section of the aircraft. Pinned between wreckage and a heavy service cart. That wreckage begins to fall. Not like a human body, but like a broken piece of the plane. Spinning. Tumbling. Slowing. Still falling from 30,000 feet. At that height, the temperature is below -50 degrees Celsius. The air pressure is almost nothing. The human body cannot survive long. But the wreckage changes everything. It shields her from the full force of the wind. It reduces the speed. It keeps her inside something. Instead of fully exposed. Still, the fall continues. For nearly 3 minutes. Below, a remote mountain region. Covered in snow. Dense forest. Silent. The falling wreckage slams into the ground. At extreme speed. Most of the aircraft is destroyed instantly. There are no survivors. Except one. But investigators later discovered something even stranger: she shouldn't have been on that flight at all. Hours later, search teams arrive. They expect to find nothing. No survivors. No movement. Just wreckage. But then, they hear something. A faint sound. A voice. They follow it, through twisted metal and debris. And inside the wreckage, they find her. Alive. Barely conscious. But breathing. Investigators begin asking the impossible question: how? How does someone survive a fall from 30,000 feet, without a parachute? The answer isn't simple. It's a combination of factors. All aligning perfectly. She was trapped inside a section of the fuselage. Pinned by a food cart. Which prevented her from being thrown out. The wreckage acted like a shield. It slowed the descent. Reduced the impact. And when it hit the ground, it landed on a snow-covered slope, softening the crash. Everything had to go exactly right. And somehow, it did. She is rushed to the hospital. Her injuries are severe. Broken bones. Internal trauma. She spends days in critical condition. Weeks recovering. Months before she can walk again. But she survives. Against every expectation. Against every known limit. Years later, her survival is officially recognized. The highest fall ever survived, without a parachute. A record that still stands today. A moment in history, that defies explanation. Because this wasn't luck alone. It was timing. Physics. Circumstance. A chain of events, that should never happen twice. At that altitude, people don't survive the fall. They don't survive the air. And yet, she did. A plane explodes in mid-air. Everything is lost. But one person falls from the sky, and lives. From 33,000 feet, through freezing air, inside a falling piece of metal, she survived. And to this day, no one has ever come close.